Did you know that operations are deeply connected to each other? And in this video, we're going to have a look at the relationships. So firstly, we have to understand that they are usually linked to each other as a pair. The reason for that is because they can undo each other. This means when you put an operation on a number and put a connected operation on the same number again, you end up with the original number. And obviously, examples can include addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, or even harder ones such as roots and powers, where rooting done, then squaring a number ends up with the original number instead. For these type of operations, we refer to them as inverse operations, which has a very self-explanatory definition of operations that are opposite to each other. But do note though, that the value used for the operations needed to be the same. The reason for this is that operations only refer to the symbols, but the value of the operation is determined by the number. It's just like balancing the values so that they can neutralize each other. At this point, inverse operations can help you in three ways, from easiest to hardest to apply on, which is to check answers, to simplify questions, and for fractions. Let's look at the first one, which is more practical in exams instead of being useful in actual calculations. So when we got an answer after a calculation, we can use the inverse operation to the answer, which in theory should give us the original number. So if, for example, we get 162 from 6 times 27. If we want to check our answer, we will do 162 divided by 27 as multiplying and dividing our inverse operations, with 27 to keep the value the same. This will give us 6, which means our answer is correct. And if somehow you get a different number, then it will be an arithmetic fail on your side, which you can fix. So second function, simplification. This is to rewrite something into neater form without compromising its value. This is mainly used in answers, but can also be used in the original question to make our lives easier in answering the question. For example, 19.5 times 1.5 is a typical decimal question which is annoying to think about. But if we multiply both numbers by 10, we will get integers, which is relatively easier to calculate. And when we put this into our steps, we just have to place an inverse operation to balance the extra times 10, which is a divide 10. In this case, it will look like this. Times 10 and divided by 10 will balance themselves out, which will not affect our value as they are inverse operations. But during calculations, we will use the times 10 temporarily and get 195 times 15 divided by 100. Then when we get 2925 as the product, we can divide it by 100 to balance the extra 2 times 10s we use to get the product, which will give us the actual value of 29.25. Third function, more of an explanation of fractions. Remember that fraction is just a division, the numerator divided by the denominator. When you flip a fraction, change the numerator into the denominator and vice versa, you will get the reciprocal of the fraction, meaning that division is reversed. To visualize it, 3 over 4 is basically 3 divided by 4, and 4 over 3 is basically 4 divided by 3. The relationship between these two numbers can be shown from this line. If something is divided by 4 divided by 3, what it actually happens is that number is divided by 4, then multiplied by 3. And if we flip the operations around, it will become times 3 divided by 4, which is 3 over 4. Which is why when we flip a fraction, we change the sign of the fraction from dividing to multiplying or the other way. Because the flipping of the fraction over will be cancelled out by inversing of the operation. And finally, we can leave this inverse operation alone. But before we move on, this channel has a goal to carry your GCSEs to grade 9 in the most efficient way. So please give us a subscribe for free. Okay, so BIDMAS, an acronym that refers to the order of operations that should be done, mainly focused on 4 steps. Take this as an example. Firstly, we do the brackets. By this, we mean finishing the operations in the bracket so that it becomes a single number, so that we can remove the brackets away. But obviously, the operations in brackets still have to follow the rules of BIDMAS, which takes us to the next step, indices, which includes that small number you see on the top right corner of a number that we will talk about in future videos. Afterwards, we move on to multiplication and division, which we will do at the same time. And finally, you should end up with numbers that only had an operation of either addition or subtraction, which we can then combine to get the final answer. One more important thing on this. When we're doing operations that are in the same order, try doing it from left to right. The reason for this can be seen from this example. Yes, multiplying and dividing are to be done at the same time. But can we do 5 times 2 first? No, because every number all have an operation stuck to it, which in this case is divided by 5 times 2 instead of 5 times 2. This makes a very big difference, as if we did 5 times 2 first, we are forcing a bracket to exist between 5 times 2 for that to be valid. We can still do the right part first, as divided by 5 times 2 gives us divided by 2.5, but usually it is more complicated and takes more time. Therefore, just do everything from left to right, bro. which will guarantee you a correct answer. And that's it for this video. More content up here, and make sure to leave a subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.